Hello everyone, this is Sheetal and I'm going to analyze CLAT PG 2020 paper. And I'm going to analyze only one question which is based upon Hoffel's model. And for that, you need to know the Hoffel model and its dual opposites and dual correlatives. So I'll just, I'll tell you what are the dual correlatives and what are dual opposites. First, the presence of one conception in one party entails the presence of the correlative in the other party, right? That is dual correlative. And the presence of one conception in one party means the absence of the dual opposite in that party. That is your dual opposite. So as you all know that right has a duty as dual correlative, liberty has no right as dual correlative, then power has a liability as dual correlative and immunity has disability as dual correlative. Accordingly, right dual opposite is your no right, liberty dual opposite duty, power dual opposite disability, immunity dual opposite liability. Okay, so now I have just brushed up your knowledge. Let's start with the analysis of the paper. Okay, so now the question first, 71st. In this question, the question says the boundary wall surrounding A's property was broken, which caused a number of villages to cross through his property to reach the adjoining market. A repaired the wall and stopped the villages. What was the nature of legal relationship here? The options given are liberty, no right, claim, duty, immunity, disability, power, liability. Now let's analyze this question. Okay, so the concept used here is dual correlatives, right? And liberty, no right. So the question tests the concept of dual correlatives and their application to a real life scenario. The key data available in the question is property belongs to A, right? Then A's ownership is not disputed. Then villagers were using the road because the boundary wall was broken, right? They don't have a right of way. This is an important concept which will be used in the next question. And they were using it as a temporary measure. A stopped the villagers and A exercised his right to protect his property. So now let's see what will be an answer. A has ownership over his property. That means A has the liberty to his property, use his property any way possible. So he is creating a boundary wall is his liberty. Hence the dual correlative here is no right, right? So option A is the answer, liberty, no right. क्योंकि यहाँ पे क्या हुआ था, ए का जो भी एक प्रॉपर्टी था, उसका जो बाउंड्री वॉल था वो टूट गया था. उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ, बहुत सारे विलेजेस वहां से जाने लगे उस प्रॉपर्टी से, क्योंकि उनको एक मार्केट में जाना था. लेकिन बाद में क्या हुआ, एक को लगा कि यार सब लोग तो मेरी प्रॉपर्टी यूज कर रहे हैं तो मैं उसको रिपेयर ही कर लूं. तो उसने उसको रिपेयर किया बाउंड्री वॉल को और विलेजेस वहां से नहीं जा पाए. तो विलेजेस ये तो नहीं बोल सकते ना तुमने अपना बाउंड्री वॉल क्यों बंद किया, हम अभी उस मार्केट में नहीं जा पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि विलेजेस के पास ऐसा कोई राइट है ही नहीं, क्योंकि वो प्रॉपर्टी ए को बिलोंग करता है, इसलिए वो लिबर्टी ए के पास है. विलेजेस के पास कोई भी राइट नहीं है बिकॉज दैट प्रॉपर्टी बिलोंग्स टू ए. So let's move on to the next question, that is question 72. Now A does not repair the boundary wall for more than 25 years and does not stop the villagers from crossing his property. Now what the villagers have, whether immunity, claim, power, liberty. Now let's see what does the villagers have. Now the question tests the application of general principles of acquisition of property and its correlation with the Hoffel's jurisprudence. And the concept used here is right of way and acquisitive prescription. Okay, so the key data in the question that we have is the property belongs to A, that we know of, right? So A's ownership is not disputed here. Same property used by the villagers as a path. So villagers are using it and he is not opposing them. Villagers have been using it for 25 years, which means now they can claim their right on that land because of acquisitive prescription. Okay, so what will be the answer? As A has not opposed the villagers using the road for more than 20 years, the villagers gain the right of way through acquisitive prescription. A has no right. So villages have the jural correlative. So villages have a claim here. ठीक है, एक्विजिटिव प्रिस्क्रिप्शन में 20 इयर्स का पीरियड मेंशन किया हुआ है. अगर 20 इयर्स तक कोई भी अगर एक वे को यूज करता है विदाउट एनी ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन, तो वो उसके ऊपर क्लेम कर सकता है, और ए उसके ऊपर क्लेम नहीं कर सकता. ए के पास कोई भी राइट नहीं रहता क्योंकि ए ने उनको ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट किया ही नहीं. अगर नाउ कंसिडर इंस्टेड ऑफ 25 इयर्स यहाँ पे 10 इयर्स होता तो क्या होता? तो ऑब्वियसली विलेजेस के पास कोई भी क्लेम नहीं होता और ए के पास उसका लिबर्टी होता, राइट? So that is question 72. Now let's move on to the 73. Now basically this question is a disputed question in my view because consortium has given an answer as A, but I feel answer should be B, and I'll tell you how. After changing her religion, an adult medical student Bareta got married to a man of her choice. The medical student's right to marry was a claim, a liberty, a power, a liability. Now here concept used is jural opposites. Okay, now the question tests the application of jural opposites, and the key data in the questions, what is it? Bareta is an adult, right? She has changed her religion, she got married to a person of her choice, but the key data missing in the question is whether Bareta got promise from her paramour that he would marry her if he changed her religion. So क्या आंसर होगा? If Bareta has got a promise, even if an oral one, okay, then she has a claim. In absence of the data, changing her religion or choosing her partner is her claim. Just because she has chosen a man to marry, that cannot be her claim, because in that circumstances, her husband will have no right. A marriage cannot subsist in a relationship where one party has a claim and other does not have a right. Okay, so what would be the answer here? Answer would be a liberty, right? Now let's move on to the next question, that is question 74. Here the situation for Bareta would change if she were a minor. Her minority would impact on her claim, liberty, power, immunity. Now, concept that is used here is jural opposite, theory of power and legal power of a minor. This question tests whether the student is able to apply the concept of minor legal status in the case. And the key data in the question, what is it? Bareta is a minor, we know that. She changed her religion, that also we know here. She got married to the person of her choice, वो भी हमें पता है. Now the absence of the data does not matter in this case because Bareta is a minor. Now let's see what could be an answer. As she's a minor, her legal relation, in this case taking a decision to marry, is incumbent upon the external factors, and that is her legal guardians. Hence the power is impacted, right? So her power is not physical force. So here power is not a physical force. Now look at this question in another perspective. This is just another perspective that I'm trying to put forth in front of you. Now look at this question. Bareta is a minor, right? In Indian context, her age is below 18 years. Okay, minor is a person who is below 18 years of age, that we know of. Then in India, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2005 says child marriages are voidable at the option of the party. See, they are voidable at the option of the party, right? That means child marriages are not illegal per se. We are not debating on the consummation of marriage, which may attract provisions of IPC and POCSO Act. Marriage alone is not an illegal. So if the act is not illegal, then can't Bareta enjoy her liberty to contract marriage? Quite confusing, isn't it? So, but does Bareta have the liberty to change religion? In India, to change religion, the procedure requires an affidavit to be filed. But a minor cannot file an affidavit, right? Hence, she cannot have that liberty. Her changing religion is incumbent upon her parents' wish. Hence, her power is impacted, right? So, this question was a little confusing for me because earlier I thought answer could be liberty, right? But when you look at that from another angle where, she needs to file an affidavit and a minor cannot file an affidavit, right? So, her power is impacted. Here, answer is power. Her minority would impact on her power. Okay. So now let's move on to the next question. That is question 75. Article 21 of the Constitution of India lays down that no person can be denied life and liberty except according to procedure established by law. We know that this is given in the Constitution. And by reason of this article, the state cannot deny liberty through executive order. What does the article impose on the state? Answer is disability. And we'll see how. And the concept used here is jural opposites. The key data in the question is life and liberty can be denied only through specific procedure. That means the executive authority is limited. So what could be the answer? The state has the power to make laws to deny life and liberty of citizens. Article 21 limits the exercise of the power. And state does not have the power, it has the jural opposite of power in it. Jural opposite of power is disability, right? So answer here is disability. I know maybe for the new students it might sound a little confusing, but believe you me, we will be covering this topic thoroughly in our Achievers course. So do not forget to join our course. And if you have any suggestions, any comments, keep us on suggesting through the comments that are provided below this video. Now let's move on to the question 76. A person can be taken into custody only if there is a legislation specifying a procedure which allows the deprivation of liberty. This protection from wrongful arrest granted to people is, what is it? Immunity, liberty, disability, power. The answer is of course an immunity. Now let's see let's see what are the concepts used here. So the concept used here is jural correlation and jural opposites. And the data that we have in this question is deprivation of liberty can happen only through a specific procedure. That means state's power is limited, right? So answer here is Hoffel says and immunity is the correlative of disability, right? So disability is the jural opposite of power. As state has disability in this case, the people as per the model will have an immunity. So the answer is immunity here. So now let's move on to the next question, 77. The Civil Procedure Code lays down the conditions that have to be fulfilled before a plaint can be filed or defended. These conditions impact on the individuals. It's a claim, power, disability, or liability. Here, the answer is power. Now let's see how. And the concept used here is jural opposites. Okay. The preconditions have to be fulfilled before an individual can file a plaint as per CPC. This means the power of the individual is impacted, right? So the individual filing his plaint or defending it will be his power when he can do so without the influence of any external factor. मैं प्लेंट और प्लेंट फाइल कर सकती हूँ, उसको डिफेंड कर सकती हूँ, वो मेरा पावर है. बट वो कब होगा मेरा पावर? जब उसके ऊपर कोई एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर्स इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं कर रहे, कोई एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर्स नहीं है, तब वो मेरा पावर होगा. लेकिन मेरे पावर को कटल किया गया. देयर आर सर्टेन एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर्स बिकॉज सीपीसी हैज गॉट सर्टेन कंडीशंस. They must be fulfilled before an individual can file a plaint, which means his power or my power to file a plaint is conditional to those external factors, and hence here the power is impacted, right? So the answer here is power. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, question 78. As a rule, only states can move international institutions for the enforcement of their rights. Special requirements have to be fulfilled before individuals can move international institution. These requirements impact on the blank of individuals to obtain their rights. Liberty, power, claim, immunity. What can be the answer? Answer is obviously a power. Let's see how. The concept used here is dual opposites, and the data given in the question that we have is individuals can move to international institutions only when spatial requirements are fulfilled. Remember, only when spatial requirements are fulfilled. Again, the same condition which we have just seen in the question 77. There were certain conditions that needs to be fulfilled when you're going to file a plaint or defend it. So what will be the answer here? As per the logic that is already discussed in the question 77, the individual's power is impacted, and because the external conditions need to be fulfilled first. And what are the external conditions here? Your spatial requirements. So if the power is impacted, obviously the answer is power. So let's move on to the next question, that is 79. When A enters into a contract with B, then the rights A has under the contract are in personam, in re, both A and B, and none of the above. The concept used here is basic concept of contract law, right? So in a contract, both kinds of rights exist. A right, A has a right in personam against B and right in rem against everybody else. Take an example of a plaintiff having a contract with a physician for skillful attention. Okay, so plaintiff has in personam right against the physician. However, any infringement of his right as by lack of diligence or carelessness would give rise to a claim in re. Okay, so right in personam is contract right, right in rem is tort right. One needs to see if in the present context the in personam converts into in rem right. Without any other data available, we are not in a position to see whether the in personam right acquired by A because of the contract is violated. Hence, one cannot determinatively say right in rem exists, and hence the answer is A, that is right in personam. So now let's move on to the last question, question number 80. Here, the recognition of the right to privacy by the Indian Supreme Court has A, converted a liberty into a claim right, B, placed a duty on the state to protect the right, C, prevented state from undertaking any activity which intruded on the privacy of the people, and all of the above. Now, concept used here is jural opposites and jural correlatives. Okay, so now let's see what could be an answer. Privacy was a personal thing for the individual. It was his liberty. When Supreme Court recognized it as a right, it becomes a claim. Hence, A is correct. As it is a claim, the jural opposite duty lies with the state. Hence, B is correct. As A and B both are correct, we are sure that answer should be D. But still, let's examine D. As individual has the power, that is his right to privacy, is not affected by extraneous circumstances, state has a disability. So C is correct. So answer is D in this. That is all. We are done with the analysis of one one paragraph having 10 questions of jurisprudence. I hope all of you have enjoyed while watching this video, and you got to know the concepts and why that particular question has particular answer. If you guys have any suggestions, any comments, anything, they are welcome. And thank you for watching this.